Wait a minute.
I had to go grab something too because
you got your drink there.
I gotta get my drink.
Yeah, that's funny.
You're gonna put me on the spot, Josh.
I'm just, we just having a good time, Grandpa.
That's what it's known. A reminder. See, she keep on coming up there that I owe her dozen donuts there.
And my dollar with my note that says Crystal was right.
Yeah, and that note.
She got real serious about that second part. She's like, I want my currency.
Hey, you know why? Let me tell you, because your granddaddy is petty. Real petty. I said, Pops, I want my dollar. Pops tells me that he wanted a fresh, crisp dollar. I said, okay, Pops. I said, well, I want my dollar straight from the bank with a note on the envelope. Then he tells me that he wanted specific mint coins and all of this stuff. That's your granddaddy who started all that. So that's why I need my dollar.
That's funny.
I didn't know I started all that.
Yes, you did, Pops. Talked a whole
I don't remember
bunch
nothing. The donuts and the dollar. I do remember the crisp dollar.
The crisp dollar. You every time I talked to you, you had a different way you wanted your dollar.
But let's see.
Hey, what's happening, good people?
Oh, we're live.
Hello, sir.
And, this is Quinn, Uncle Pooh.
Hey, Quinn.
How you doing, sir?
I guess
good.
He hit you with the sir.
I'm a respectable member of society, Crystal. You would understand.
Yes, you are. As we all. Yep.
Oh my goodness. So let's beer in. Quinn, you're the guest, so you go first. What you got for us today?
Well, what did I bring to drink?
Yeah.
While
you're telling us what your drink is, you gotta getting your drink together. You gotta give the blurb about who you are and all that.
All right. Well, my name is Quinn Wright. I'm a Spartan. I'm actually president of the Detroit Spartans, the alumni club in the Metro Detroit area. And I'm also a financial advisor with Edward Jones. And I came about you guys by our friend Steve Culp, who invited me to check this show out and to come on board. And so the drink I brought for you guys today was actually not only in the spirit of Black History Month, but in the spirit of Black excellence, is the story of our good old friend and pal, Uncle Nearest.
Oh, okay.
I have to be honest with you because I am not a beer person, being an asthmatic, and yeast is not good for said asthma.
Nice.
But the story goes is that the recipe for Jim Beam was derived from our ancestors and Uncle Nestor, and they had to fight to get the rights to use their own recipe, the family, and they were able to. So this is a Black distillery making their own recipe for bourbon, Uncle Nearest, and it is actually quite phenomenal. And so it is a testament to Black excellence, and it's something that I do enjoy. As you can see by the bottle, I didn't just buy it for the looks. So it's my contribution to this show, and shout out to a little Black history. So did I do my job? It was 93 proof too. So it's not for the light faint of heart.
No, it is pretty good though. I gotta say, it's pretty good.
Just sent my dad some for Christmas.
You just sent him some.
Well, this Christmas was just around the corner.
CP time, man. Let her live.
Right. What's really happening today?
You know what? She was waiting for that $1 to finish paying off this bottle.
So that's why a little short. She fell a little short.
I think it's the 1856 one I sent through. I think that's the one.
Okay. Well, Grandpa, what you got today? Grandpa here? Yeah, it's your turn.
Okay, I'm slow, you know. Yeah, I got some by the courtesy of the tailors, some Samuel Adams Cold Snap Ale, 5.3% alcohol. And I don't think I even have tasted it, but it looks like it's gonna be a pretty good.
He said a cold snap.
got a nice light color blue, label. So hey, everything is a plus.
What's the pre-rating?
Oh,
I guess you got to
get-
pour it. You got to pour it.
I got to start with a 6 because of the label.
Come on now.
Yeah, blue. Baby
Fine.
blue label. I'm
I'm
starting with a
coming
6.
up with it.
Yeah.
You got a chance.
All right.
Okay.
Well, all right, Auntie, I know you guys are doing this, the same thing. So you guys want to go for yours?
Go ahead, Fred.
No, you go ahead.
All right. So this is by a local brewery called Hailstorm.
Okay.
It's called Stratus. Didn't realize this is a variant that I got. It's a orange cream hazy double IPA is brewed with orange, vanilla, and milk sugar. And it's 8.0%. So
it smells orange and sweet.
It's pretty though. Look at that.
Is that a real beer or imitation beer?
Oh, Pops, don't
man.
start.
That looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
It's matching your hair, Auntie.
It smells good too. I'm gonna pull my Pops. I think I'm gonna start with a 6.5.
6.5.
A pre-tasting 6.5. What you got, nephew?
Smell good. I'm going with 7. My mouth water.
I got an open gate Guinness Brewery Baltimore Blonde. So, this is just a random beer.
None of that sounds good. None of it.
My mom has been she's an unofficial sponsor of the show. Every week she brings me a box of random beers that she finds.
Shout out to Mom.
So, I have to pay for it. So it's all good.
You know what? That's the best type of beer. Free beer.
All right. Cheers.
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 Pops.
Cheers.
This is beautiful. Look at
It
that.
is. I hope it tastes like it. Look.
It smells good.
Yeah. You guys want me to just take the bottle to the head? Because I'll do that too.
Oh, yeah.
Go for it.
There's no judgment here.
Okay.
Oh, Kristen, you hate it.
You did.
I don't hate it. I'm trying to figure out what I think about because it's definitely
weird.
orange cream. It's definitely orange cream.
I'll tell you
It's
this.
weird.
This is a solid 7.
That's a solid 7.
I got to tell you guys. So when you get into like the German beers and you get into the golden ales and the lagers and stuff, so the German beers, they sometimes get freaky with it, and they'll put they'll put Sprite in their beer. Like they'll do like half Sprite, half beer.
Wow.
You getting Pops fired up, man. He loves some German beer.
Oh, yeah.
He had to lean forward for that, boy.
German, all of a sudden, man, I talk about Oktoberfest,
Yeah, you go to Oktoberfest, you get your little pretzel necklace, and so you can eat your pretzels as you drink. So prior in my former career, I used to do international logistics, and a lot of my counterparts were German and Swiss and Dutch. And so, I would go to Cincinnati and go to the Hopper House, or go to Chicago and get that Chicago 313. I think it's 313L or
312.
312. Sorry, that 312. So I got to go around the world and drink beer being nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why you hate, nephew?
No,
You were singing.
He said he went all around the world. Had to hit him with the yeah.
No,
You gotta sing it though. It sounded like you were like yada yada yada, but when your uncle started singing it, I was like, oh, he doing the song.
I'm not gonna lie. That's marriage hearing. So y'all who sound exactly the same, but because you married, it sounded like singing.
I heard the both. Like at first, I didn't know if you were telling me to wrap it up, but then I was
Thank you.
I've been, because I like to do the bass version. I've been around.
I can't find my baby.
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know where she can be. Oh, my baby.
Sing the whole song now.
But I'm gonna find it. Let's go. All right.
Oh man. But let's get into it, man. We're in the beer then. So it's Black History Month, the shortest month. So, but every day is our history because you know how it is. You're the guest, Quinn. So we pick we just get into a topic and go for it. I mean, we got our world historian, Grandpa Taylor here. He done been he done wrote some of these history books, you know, for in the original. Was it papyrus? Was that the original parchment?
Oh,
Oh
no.
my God.
Oh no. Well, I respect it. I respect it. Okay.
So let's get into it. So you sent me some things on your. So can you go into a little bit about your the background?
Yeah. So you know, I'm one of those girl dads. So got 3 little girls, 5, a 7, and a 10-year-old.
Oh,
And
goodness.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So you know, that kind of preoccupies a lot of my time. In addition to outside of being a financial advisor, I do some work with the fatherhood initiatives. I'm certified by the National Fatherhood Group. You ever seen the commercials where the dad is like going nuts doing the cheer routine?
The
And then
cheerleading routine. I knew what you were talking about. One
Yeah.
more time. That's one of my favorite commercials.
Yeah, so certified through them. So, you know, I do some fatherhood work and work in the community. I mean, I think it's important that, you know, we support and build a strong community, but build it in a way that's sustainable. And that comes through the transfer of true knowledge and information. So the true wealth transfer isn't the cash, it's the knowledge. And so making sure we get that into the communities, into the people, and more importantly, help provide and be, you know, some of the things that maybe we didn't have. Like, you know, when I was growing up, honestly, I didn't really know true financial advisors. Like I knew folks who, you know, would sign you up for stuff, but I didn't know anyone who could really sit you down and talk to you or, you know, provide a resource. So, you know, just being a resource, being something there for the community and you know, just being someone that people can depend on. So, and I'm speaking very general, so you're gonna have to hit me with some specific questions and I can drill down into it.
Well, since we're talking about in our community, Black community specifically, or you know, the melanated people, depending on how whatever you want to call yourself, the vernacular you choose to use.
Melanin.
There you go. So what are some, like say you were talking about when you were growing up, you felt like you didn't have the background of knowledge to know certain things about the financial institutions. Like, do you know any like do you have any background knowledge of any like our history as Black people, like our experiences with the banking industry? And you know, do you think about any, like what lessons do you think you can take from what you know about the history to what you know about now as someone who works in the field financially?
Well, you know, what I think about is that we have always had the back, like wherever there's American history, there's our history. So, you know, we talk about money, you know, you have to talk about Wall Street, which leads you to talk about Black Wall Street, which, you know, leads you to talk about, you know, the Tulsa massacre and things like that. And so really, when we talk about Black history and its impact on the nation and its impact on the world, it's pretty strong. But the reality is that a lot of times for us, we've been suppressed and oppressed from holding on to those attributions we made to American history. And what do I mean by that is you know, Black Wall Street was blown up. That in itself could have set up generational wealth for all of us. You know, we could be having different conversations than we have now. But where we are as a whole, now, if we fast forward, we're still dealing with that suppression, but at the same time, the information now is available for us to plant those seeds to have true and lasting legacies and generational wealth. But more importantly, know how to be sustainable in terms of learning how to deal with the market and learning how to deal with setting some aside for our families. And so that knowledge of knowing how to work within the current system is something that I really help people to do and, you know, take advantage of. In my industry, you know, there's like 1% of folks, of financial advisors that are Black. So we make up what, 13.4%?
What percent did you say? I'm sorry.
1%.
Wow. Okay.
So I have my Series 7 and my 66. I mean, like I can buy, sell, and trade stocks. And so, you know, we make up about 13.4% of the population. And, you know, one of the things I found is everywhere I go, we're a small part of these fields. We're a small part of lawyers. We're a small part of doctors. We're a small part of, you know, engineers. And so the need for us to be in these fields is important because, you know, we bring a perspective that I think helps things to move the needle. So I think it's important to share that information as to how to do the simple things and teach people how to be successful. Because I think a lot of times in chasing the American dream, we can get caught up in trying to be a baller, shot caller, 20-inch blades, you know.
Only Impala.
Pops, what you gonna jump in? I know he had you fired up for a second.
I saw him leaning forward. I was waiting on him.
Yeah, like yeah.
You, Pops.
Oh, you talking to me? No, I'm listening. I was always talking about that incremental change, and y'all say ain't none. And I'm seeing over the years, and he's showing me now where we building that base. I'm telling you, we building a base gonna be so strong that we ain't gonna just be incremental. We're gonna do some leaps and bounds, but we on our way, you know. And I like what he's saying, you know, about the change, you know. And he kind of spoke out the way I was thinking, you know. I keep talking about the incremental change. I know it ain't gonna be overnight, but I do say we on the move. Huh?
Now, so the drinking word of the day is incremental. Whenever, so Quinn, whenever you said incremental change, you got to drink.
I was waiting. I was like, is that like a code to tell me to like not talk? I don't know what that means.
No.
It used to be Cuba, because Cuba would come up with every conversation. So we would drink whenever anybody said Cuba.
Oh.
So now we drink with Cuba and incremental change.
Let's not derail this episode. You about to jump off the rails.
Well, Cuba didn't have incremental change. They made change right then and there.
See, no, you got to go back. You got to go back when Batista was kicking heads and stuff. And they moved up, but it was incremental until Castro got in there. And then we had this revolution, you know.
Hold on, Greg. We'll definitely revisit that.
Okay.
That's his fault.
I want to get to this financial information real quick.
Hey, you see Castro on the wall now. He back here.
Oh my goodness. Whew.
That's hilarious. But so Quinn, you're talking about like this 1%. You see 1% of us in the financial advisory field. So what have you heard about the statistic they're talking about? I think was it the Census Bureau or somebody who said that by 2050 they're like black wealth will go to zero.
I think it's 2054, something like that.
2053.
2053.
Have you heard about this statistic?
I have not, and you know, my first thought is, how is that possible?
Well, right now, are you aware that the 50% of black people in America are worth $0 or less?
So that's taking into consideration their debt.
Yes, like that's what the that's like you're at zero or you owe a bunch of money that negates any type of asset you might have.
Yeah, that's an interesting stat. And you know, the thing that I've learned, you know, there's the old saying, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Well, that's not true. Numbers lie too, because numbers always in
Thank you.
correlation to what they're compared to. So comparatively speaking, to put that into context for me, how would blacks compare to their peers in other race groups? For example, if we're close to being worth zero, what does that mean for our white peers? And is that just more of a statement on the debt to income ratio problem and how we continue as a society to outprice ourselves, not only particularly as a black community, but as a nation, as we continue to upprice?
Wait. Are you saying that the wealth inequality gap is because of America is pricing itself out and not the racial implications that have created the gap in the first place? Like, what exactly are you saying?
No, I didn't take it. I'm speaking on a broader level, just trying to put into, I'm trying to quantify how does that compare to what they're saying about the other races. Are they saying that we're going to be the only ones? Like, is it just going to be black folks going to be worth zero? How's everyone?
The stuff I'd have read, it's us. We're trending to zero. We're trending to zero. Like, we're the only ones trending to zero.
Where are our peers trending to, though?
I mean, they're trending steady, right?
So
they're not trending downward. They're not. I mean, the gap is widening between white and black in general.
Yeah.
But it's not like the majority of the white population is taking off Bezos going to make $1 gazillion, right?
So based on some things I've read, and mind you, I'm not a financial advisor, that so white people and Asian people in America, their wealth is increasing. Latinos is slightly above ours, but it's not too much better. And then black people's is actually trending down. So like the average black person, like when you take into account like like your house and everything like that, and whatever little bit of money you might have is to like some places is as low as $1,700, and some places is as high as 17,000. But when you look at a white person's wealth, it's 10 times that. It's around $170,000. Now, a lot of that is based on what you're talking about with being like if Tulsa massacre didn't happen, and these scores of other massacres have happened to Black people in Black towns and things like that have happened over the centuries in America, then we would be able to build some of that wealth through time. But what was it? Up until the 1960s, we weren't even allowed to have some of the access to financial institutions, to housing, to jobs, and there was still peonism going on. So like low key slavery was still happening in some parts of America. So it's all these factors are so essentially over the past for 2020 now. So has it been 50, 60 years since the 60s happened? So that's like 60 years, right? So for about 60 years was in that time span has any real wealth generation been even started in the Black community. So that's like a several hundred years, like they had a several year head start. So it's a lot of that, I mean, it's not hard to see how someone can be 10x your value when you just started saving money in yourself, like,
Yeah, and you really ain't even saving none, right? Because you just talked about how the wealth is trending downward, right? So I mean, we're consumers, right? As a people, which is part of the main part of the reason. But I just finished up Dr. Claude Anderson's Black Labor, White Wealth, and like he was just like in knee deep in all of this. But as our representation has increased in some of these higher levels, right? Whether it's politics and business, it hasn't resulted in the bottom rungs of us coming up. It's not overall, it's not doing anything for us. And overall, that's why our wealth is trending downward. These successes of the few is not translating to the success of the race. And these are just apparent by the numbers, right? By the wealth.
They also come off as a detriment. Like I think the term is the decadent veil. Like when people see a bunch of rappers and entertainers and what have you on TV, they're like, well, Black people seem to be doing fine because they account that this face of people that you see are making a lot of money, when you just said yourself, you only see this about 1% of the industry. And in terms of actual the economic power we all have, we only control about 2.7% of the nation's wealth. So if we're 13% of the nation, but we only control 2% of it, that's a big reason why we're in the straits we are. I mean, because so if you look at the other if you look at the other nationalities in America, or races or what have you, white people as a whole control 90% of the wealth, and they're like 40% of the population. So that means with our 2% of that last 10%, that's everybody else trying to grab that too. So it's interesting because you see what Uncle Pooh Bear was talking about, and then we also have people like Grandpa talks about the incremental change, where like we got more people coming and showing like we got more representation.
Do we have to drink at the same time? Because I'm going to have to put some more.
Oh, you're gonna be tipsy by the time you're done.
My understanding of this thing is 90%.
Up a little bit, man. That's coming up. Sorry, Pops. Go ahead.
10% of wealth is controlled by the people out of the 100%. 90% of the people ain't even in that 10% class, and out of that 10% is 1%. But you get down into raw figures and raw numbers, you'll find out that they ain't doing what you think they're doing, because they average that thing out. But ain't but a few people even now. This is why our problem is now. Ain't but a few people got all the money. And you look at somebody with 165 billion, ain't but so much money. And somebody got 50 billion, somebody got 75 billion. That's why they keep talking about this change, that we got to have some kind of a shifting of the wealth, resources,
Redistribution.
But I mean, they got it figured, like, got it hidden that everybody doing well in the white race, which ain't so.
No, I don't think that's I don't think nobody's saying that.
No, I'm just saying.
I grew up around poor white people. I know exactly who they are. They ain't got shit either.
In raw figures, they way worse off than we are in raw figures, because they
way worse. I've also
when you look at the numbers, like I said, because that's always been the argument. As much as they want to talk about how many Black people are on welfare and all this stuff, there's more white people on it than we are.
How are you talking? When you go into raw figures,
7%. welfare.
Yeah, but they the majority of the population. You got to know they're gonna be feeding off the titty more so than anybody else, regardless of what they're saying and who they're striking the spotlight on, right? Like,
and to your point, Uncle Pooh Bear, to what Auntie was saying about like the more of them are on welfare. That's the same argument they use against us about the incarceration system. Like, why are y'all so little in the population, but so much in the incarceration system? Even though we have documented that the government targeted the Black community with the crack epidemic, which started a lot of these problems. Like when you
made it a for-profit industry.
But the government, it wasn't just the crack epidemic, it was a whole lot of things too, you know, just like this stop and frisk thing where they concentrate their law enforcement into the Black neighborhood and get you for doing something you didn't do. And I've experienced it, where I try to show the man that here's my documentation, I'm authorized to drive this car or whatever, and they don't even want to look at it. They ain't searching for some drugs now. If I don't have them, they may even plant some drugs. So you know, it's a whole wide range of things going on.
Yeah. And this incremental change don't seem to be doing nothing about that, in my opinion.
Oh, I was saying the incremental change depending upon the base. And we were created based on.
He said it too. So
where I'm coming from, I saw the Paul Robesons and the W.B. Du Bois and the their history and thing. And I saw they were making incremental change.
Right,
it wasn't an overnight revolution.
I said you didn't see the Paul Robeson, the W.B. Du Bois, and the whatchamacallits. The
it's like Beyonce and them.
They were advocating part of the thing, right? Like it's no one thing that's gonna get us over the edge. We do have to be involved in the breadth of this stuff. So I definitely believe there's a need for classical education in the community, right? And pushing into those professions. But we can't neglect doing for self, right? We can't neglect building things of our own and taking control of our own community. Go ahead, Pastor.
Hey, I go along just what you're saying, but you got to remember too, through all our struggles and things, we've had this hidden hand. We saw some progress coming up and somebody else is undermining whatever we tried to do. Like I told you about it, just like I was so happy to hear the Secretary of Transportation talking about what happened to the Black community when they run those interstate highways through. These people, they're always thinking ahead. So they said, we're going to, just like the Wall Street, they destroyed the Black community. I've seen them here in the city of Detroit. I've seen them come down that interstate and divided the whole Black community all the way. I-75. And
I think I read something about that, Grandpa. Like, wasn't there like a small town or something where I-75 used to be, or 94 that they just ran right through?
I went in the Black Bottom. That was us. Russell Street, Hastings Street, Oakland. We had businesses all up and down through there. You can't find me one now. And we had the Bartwell ice cream. We got our own ice cream, we go to our own theaters. We did all this stuff. Well, you tell me, where's it at now? We integrated.
What are you talking about with them highways? They ran them highways through the business districts all around the country. So when you see them highways everywhere, they ran through the Black community, through specifically the Black business districts, which they eminent domained the property and took it and gave you fair market value for it, right? For you to move and relocate, knowing that you couldn't. There's an instance of that here in Chicago. If you in downtown Chicago and you taking 94, you're driving south like you about to come back towards Michigan, but you're coming from downtown, you're driving south, and then it does this weird like loop, right? And it all makes sense. And well, it don't make sense like why that loop is even there until you know the story. That loop loops around this community called Pilsen. It would have ran through is it the Polish? I think the Polish is over there. Mm-hmm. Their district, if they would have ran like the regular course, they looped the whole damn thing around, came through the Black community and ran through everything. Like, and that scenario is what Pops was talking about in Detroit, that happened in Atlanta, that happened everywhere.
In Detroit, Black Bottom along the riverfront there was controlled by Black people. Black Bottom, that's why they can call it, one of the reasons call it Black Bottom. But I recall when they begin to upgrade the land there, and they're gonna give you market value on some, what is the market value? He wanna give you what your house is worth, which ain't worth nothing. But that riverfront property, man, a lot of folks refuse to sell. They say, I ain't selling, you're gonna give me something better than what you want, to give me, just a few dollars, and you're gonna take this, and all of a sudden you got $1 million riverfront, and you gave me $50 to leave. No,
that's what they're doing now.
Those are not what I call hidden hands. You watching the hand while they picking your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma two-step.
Oklahoma two-step. Yeah, so brother, so I know the money is always important to all of this, right? So like how did you get into let me study this money? Because I mean that's the key skill, right? Like I mean, I was talking to my son earlier. I was like, dude, it's two ways you impact the world. You either, you muscle them or you pay for it, right? Like them the only two ways you're really about to impact anything. I was like, I ain't really about this fighting life. So let's figure out how to get this money. So how did you decide you were gonna study that?
Well, incrementally, I decided
Oh man, I like that selection. Incremental. Incremental in every derivative of the word.
It is how you become part of the family. That's why you're gonna be nephew next. See, you fell right in line. See?
No, in all honesty, I did not know any real financial advisors growing up, and I did not know any people who were trying to help the Black community figure it out. And so to me, that means that there's a need. And so one of the things that I've learned throughout my career of how people get rich is they find a need and then they take care of it and they address that need. And so, in every situation, in every war and everything we've seen happen in this country from slavery to today forward, you've always followed the money, and the money tells the tale of the tape. You just talked about going through the Black communities, which are the poor communities that didn't have the money or the power. They didn't have the muscle or the money, so they just got ran over. Whereas like the community you talked about in Chicago, they probably had some, if they didn't have the money, they had the muscle. And having that education and that experience is what drove me into this field, understanding how the market works, understanding what drives it, understanding how to make sustainable money and not fall into the traps. I mean, right now, is this going up live or is this?
Oh, we're live.
Yeah, okay. So right now going on in the market right now, the whole Reddit army thing was a big deal. But, the reality is, and this isn't financial advice, that's just a drop in the pan. If you're not at the front of that line, I can't give any financial advice, but I'm just saying, like, don't be caught holding the hot potatoes, all I can say about that. And so we always seem to, the rules shift and they move quickly, but one thing that doesn't change is following the money. And so if you understand how the money moves, where it moves, why it moves, and I think you can build something that's sustainable. And so the blessing to me is being just a kid from 8 Mile Road and being able to help some people to know how to survive. If our value goes down to zero, to me that means a few things. I think that the wealth disparity is definitely going to continue to separate, but at the same time, the value in it is going to change as well. And what do I mean by that? If you look at everyone's debt to income ratio, it's going up. So you might see these folks who have these $1 million homes, but my next question is how much money do they have in debt and what's their actual net worth? And so is being debt free going to be the new being a millionaire in the future? Because the reality is a lot of folks are outpriced in their life with their vacations and their balling photos that they take and their iPhone and this and that. I think there comes a point to where for us as a community specifically, we're going to have to start having some sanity checks and some reality checks and say, this is how we live within our means. This is how we maintain our financial well-being, our mental well-being, and we balance this whole thing out. Because at the end of the day, money does not equal happiness. Money does not equal success. Money equals money. And this is why rich people commit suicide and have mental health issues and divorces and struggles and everything else, because at the core of it is really understanding where the value in that money comes from. So what do I mean by that? If you live in a Black community, you don't have debt, and you know how to sustain yourself, you can be happy. There's nothing stopping you from being happy in that Black community. Do you drive a Ferrari? No, but do you need to drive a Ferrari? I mean, have you ever thought about the true ownership cost in owning a Ferrari? Do you want to take your Ferrari around people who don't like Ferraris and who want to scratch your Ferrari and touch your Ferrari.
Right.
I don't want people scratching up my Ferrari because I'm like, no, don't touch it, don't touch it. So
Driving over potholes.
yeah, exactly. First time you hit a pothole, you're gonna want to cry, like, oh my God. So, it's a matter of putting things in the real perspective and knowing when you got to win in hand and when you don't. And so when you were talking about the numbers, I think about what does that mean from a macro perspective and a micro perspective. And I wonder, because I hear your point. Yeah, like, we're changing the guard. So, I'm a new financial advisor. There's an old black one who just retired. So, there's not like a duplicity and the multiplicity in that. I'm replacing somebody. So, but I think that's where it's going to be really our challenge generationally is going to be to redefine wealth and health. And we're going to have to do that in a way where we understand the paradigms and we shift our view and know what it means to truly be winning. Because I think a lot of the times it's just like when you have that girl or that guy and you're like, oh, they don't like me. They think I'm ugly. They like so-and-so. And all the whole time they had a crush on you too. I think at a higher level, a lot of times we're winning, but we just are made to feel like we're not. I mean, you talked about it with our white peers and now I can't call what are they calling you, Mr. Taylor? I don't want to call you. I don't remember what they're calling you.
91. Oh, Pops.
They were calling you Pops. I'm calling you Mr. Taylor because
Grandpa. That's all good.
Grandpa, Mr. Taylor. I'm gonna call you both because that's the little things like you earned to be called Mr. Taylor, so I'm gonna call you Mr. Taylor. So, but just teaching that respect, teaching that value, and putting that value back in the things we do and how we do it. So I think that's really, really gonna be the test because, like, at the end of the day, it's gonna be everything to understand what it means to build that foundational community, that foundational wealth passing and knowing that money, half the value is the faith in the people. So I just got hope, y'all. I got hope we can get it right.
Yeah.
So based on your experience as financial advisor, what's some free game you can give the people watching on where they should start?
Free game?
Yeah, where they should start if they're trying to, maybe build some wealth.
Probably gonna say you should start in crypto.
I'm not.
I know.
I am not.
No, I mean, like what I'm getting to is like if you're gonna try to tell
incrementally you could start there.
No, I mean, like, dang. What I'm getting to is like, you meet some young person, maybe they just got out of high school. Let's just start with high school because college wasn't for everybody. Mm-hmm. Where would you tell them to think about? What type of mindset or what type of things would you tell them to do to maybe put them on the path of not being someone who is in debt?
I would start with two thoughts, and I'm a separate it first. I'll just go there first. It is about being incremental, and that's one thought. And the other thought is it's about disconnecting wealth from your career and from your career path. You can start saving at 18 and save $1 million by the time you're 40 and be, I'm not disrespecting anybody when I say this. You can be a janitor. You can be, I think of a low-paying job. You can be a waitress. If you just develop the simple habits of habitually saving and letting that money work and grow slowly and develop that patience, it can happen. It's not about you just being a doctor or a lawyer or a successful this. The habit is separate from the career, and that's not one thing we're taught. We're taught you're not going to be a baller or a guy who makes it unless you're like a lawyer or a doctor. Well, they don't, as Biggie said, more money, more problems. When you go to doctors, go to school to be a doctor, you got $500,000 in debt. So yeah, you have to demand more. But if you go get a trade and you make 50,000 and you have no debt, you start out with a surplus. So the habit of paying yourself for the future now is the one thing that everyone can do. And the earlier you learn that, the better. There's this thing called time horizon in money. And the way I say it is $25 today is worth 100 tomorrow. So if I can teach you to just get into the habit of putting money aside for the future, the better off you'll be when things come. Because the thing we often talk about is not necessarily to plan for the things you can prepare for, but know that something's going to happen you can't prepare for. There's too many variables.
So what type of
Money-
when you let me ask this real quick, Grandpa.
Okay.
So when you said if you save money today at 18 to get to $1 million, does it matter what type of account, or is it just a regular savings account?
Well, I mean, obviously some will do better than others, but if you put that money into a savings account, it will grow interest, but typically over time an investment account will perform better. So, you know, I don't want to talk numbers in particulars, because like alphabet boys watch what I say too. So,
Right.
but I will say there are simple ways in which it can be done. You don't have to have phenomenal performance and be stellar. You can just be average or a little bit below average and still get it done in terms of interest rates and returns.
Yeah, if you guys want to know this, reach out to Quinn, because this is his job. So
Right.
Yeah.
But you know,
Right, Pops.
money doesn't translate into happiness. I found that out. There was a fishing village over in Ghana. And the kids were out in the water, and the women were cutting fish and cleaning everything. And they had the big smiles on their face and laughing. And I'm saying, this is happiness, you know. So regardless, you don't really need for happiness. You don't really need that bankroll, you know. It's got to be like a developed situation where, you know, you can be happy and don't have nothing. I learned that the hard way, because I ain't seen nobody with no sad faces. Everybody laughing and enjoying themselves, and they happy. They may ain't got no money, because where they were at, it was looked so poor. You know, say, hey, you know, how can you be happy? You know.
But it's a difference between money and value. So
Aye.
there's a difference between money and value.
Mhm.
So what they value was way.
I just seen your trophy. I'm sorry.
Nephew told me to go get it.
I keep about to drop a major gem, and then you derailed the whole moment.
So, but they're happy because what they value is different from money.
Right.
It's not about being able to buy everything. It's about being able to spend time with their family. It's about being able to just have what's necessary and not everything that you want. You know, it's just a difference. And I think that that's part of the issue. Too many people value money as opposed to the things that really matter, because we could all lose our money right now. And if that was the sole source of your happiness, then that's a problem. That's a problem.
Your money with happiness.
Yeah, it's not true happiness. You know, and a lot of people try to buy happiness with experiences and cars and stuff like that. That can be fun for the moment, but pure happiness should be able to be achieved without it having a value to it. You know, happiness is something I consider to be intangible, but a lot of people don't look at it that way. They think they're happy about their bank accounts, but like you said, I think that was Quinn who said it, you know, they're still committing suicide. They're still going through divorces. They're still beating their kids. They're still leaving their kids. They're still doing all of these things that unhappy people do. So if money was truly happiness, they wouldn't have any of those issues. And if that was the case, then I could see everybody fighting for the money. But if that's not solving your issues, it has to be something else that will lead to pure happiness.
Well, I think a part of it is that, like Quinn and everyone else was talking about here, about changing the expectations of what wealth and things of that nature are, is you see a lot of things in society talking about people getting excited about getting the bag, and you don't need sleep and all the other stuff. And it's like it's propaganda and it's brainwashing, because it's really teaching you not to. It's teaching you not to find the thing that makes you happy, and accepting that it may not be the popular thing, but it's for you. And you know, there's like what Grandpa was talking about, that fishing village where he was at. I don't know if they had internet. I don't know if they had TV. I don't know what they had with the outside world. But if your expectation is I got a full belly tonight, and that's the zenith of the culture you're in, then you're living swell.
Yeah.
But you know, when you
they had community too. That's what I think.
Mhm.
yeah, when you get into the crux of it, it's just like in any relationship. Like, and have money, your relationship with money is in fact an interpersonal relationship, because you know, if you're sitting there and you're like, I just need this much more to buy this item or this, that, and the other, and you're really searching for something to fill up that spot that you're not ready to confront yet. And if you confront that, then you might find yourself not spending as much money and thus not getting yourself in as much debt. I saw you were trying to say something, Quinn, a second ago.
Well, I was just to talk about what Mr. Taylor, aka Pops, was saying. The way I heard that story he was talking about, I heard a story in the book once where they said, that was this big businessman who was stressed out. He needed to take a break, and he needed to, get away. And he went to a little town in Mexico where they were fishing and out on the boat all day, and the boaters were just incredibly happy. And the old businessman, had such a great time with him. He was like, "This is what I want to do when I retire." And so, he talked to the fisherman, and he was like, "Hey, you seem kind of, a little down on your luck and poor. You should go do what I do. Go get a job." And they talked more, and the fisherman finally told him, he was like, "Wait, why would I go get a job, do what you do, just to come back here and do what I'm already doing?" Like, so yeah, I mean, there's the point about it is, and what I really help people to do is to see, at the end of the day, you say to give away some free advice without giving away the whole bag, right? Live within your means and know how to be happy with it, and not compare yourself to other people. You want your problems. You don't want other people's problems. So, because the grass always, no matter how close I've gotten to see situations, it seems like the grass is always greener on the other side.
Yeah. So,
Hey, so just
are you saying you're not down with OPP?
Nah, you don't know me. I'm not down with OPP.
Y'all are hilarious with these songs today. Come on now.
Hey, so to quote Les Brown, they say money won't make you happy, but it make a hell of a down payment.
It does.
I definitely prefer to have more money than less. I'll take my chances. But I remember being transformed, right? That's a good word for this, because by listening to Joe Dominguez. Any of y'all familiar with Joe Dominguez? Like this 80s financial guy, right? I love Joe Dominguez, right? If you ever get a chance to hear Transform Your Relationship with Money, it everything we're talking about is this, and it's absolutely beautiful. But anyway, I'm not going to say the climax of the piece, because it's like about 6 hours, right? Like it's a whole thing. But he talks about how when you're starting off making money, it's like more money, more reward, right? More good feelings, more money, more reward, more money, more reward, more money, more reward. And then it becomes a point where more money, not as much reward, more money, not as much reward, more money, actually less. You know what I mean? More money, now it's getting worse. More money, now it's getting worse. So he says, he said that at the very top of the curve is this point, and it's called enough. When do you have enough? Enough is enough. You got it. And then to start really focusing on experiencing life and finding joy outside of money. That's how you get back up on the value curve. But it's not more money that leads to it. It's just more happiness, more fulfillment, more joy, more assistance to others. But he talked to me. The whole thing is really centered around figuring out what is enough. Like you need enough, because after that it's going to make you miserable.
Yeah, it's the baseline. I mean, so when it comes to like doing different type of events, we all, they always ask you for that biography, and everybody wants to hear like your accreditations and your accomplishments and things like that. And those all are important when it comes to getting an idea of who you are. But that's one of the reasons why I intentionally start by leading that I'm a father of 3, because like my daughters are truly
girl dad.
Yeah, they are pretty much the best things that I've ever done, and I want that to be my legacy, not the awards I've won, not the accreditations. And I have some accreditations, and I just leave it at that, and some awards too. But to me, when people look at my legacy, I want it to be like, wow, he was a good dad. He was, though he put it into those girls, and so finding that thing that means something to you. And being to me, I mean, I know for you guys can speak to it. Being a Black father to me is important, because that's a role for a lot of us. I know where it was a struggle growing up. For me, I'll just speak for me. we got Pops here, so I won't disrespect him at all. But for me, Black fatherhood, you know, it was a struggle. I grew up in a single parent home, and so, you know, I take great pride in being a father. So
That's what's up.
Mhm. You know, there's a law in economics. Is it called diminishing returns?
mhm.
And you keep on going, but each time it's going to diminish the returns. So when you get to the top, you know, hey, you made it to the top, but in the process, you done lost something along the way, you know.
Yeah.
Because you're steady climbing, you know. And then when, and then when you do get to the top, you say, man, what's this all about? I'm still unhappy.
Yeah.
Mhm. Look here, ladies and gentlemen. What up, sis?
What's happening, sis?
Hey,
Hello, Matt.
So,
That's a part of the show too, the Aunt Alice Wave segment.
yeah,
Alice, we should drink to that too.
yeah, that's what break it out. Shows that.
You doing? Okay, goodbye. That's all.
I'm right here.
I don't see you.
I don't even
I'm
know.
close to you.
Right there.
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
there. Okay, there we go.
Back.
But you know, I don't know. I just had to take a quick moment. Like, I know Pops always laugh. Oh, another part of the show is Pops like, oh, I forgot what I was going to say. But look here, Pops.
Ah,
You are sharpity sharp for 91. Come on now with it. You are in schooling. I'm listening. I'm like, come on, Pops. That just made me happy. That's my dude. That's why I always said back in the day when Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was out. Pops was one of my lifelines because I made it through round one. I said, boy, if I get it, Pops will definitely be one of my lifelines because this man knows it all.
What you trying to say? You know a bunch of useless information?
I wasn't talking about you.
No,
I was talking about the other Freddie.
it's called having approximate knowledge of everything.
Oh, I like that, an approximate knowledge of everything.
But I
Well,
did,
well played, Crystal. You got your trophy out. You funny now?
this should be the screenshot. This should be the thumbnail for all of our. You see that, Pops?
So YouTube be auto-generated, so it might
Oh.
be. If you just hold it there long enough, it'll be there.
You
No,
might
the
be-
picture, what's funny is the picture, it has is Pooh isn't on yet, and then my chair is empty. Yeah, it just looks like a bootleg show. So
But you know, we wind down the show. You know, we gotta get into people's final thoughts. Quinn, give your final thought, and then pub your business, and so people reach out to you, try to make some money.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just want to thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of this conversation. I think that you guys, these type of conversations are, I think, critical, not only for the transfer of information amongst families, but for folks who don't have the family that you guys have and the connection. So there's a lot of folks out there right now who honestly they don't, because they're stuck in their screens all day. So for them to see a family and see some folks interacting and see some, you know what, I won't call it, we'll just conflict resolution, having some opposing opinions and it not just disintegrating into nothing, and saying, when you have a question, like when Freddie said something about the statement I made, it doesn't turn into like a big, like, I don't ever want to talk to you ever again. Like that is becoming a lost art. And so I just want to thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of it.
hey, Quinn, now you don't want to come to the holidays. The holidays could be a the conversations can get heated.
Listen, my mom has 8 brothers and sisters. I got like 1 million cousins. I got people on the south side of Chicago too. So like, I trust me, it's nothing new to me.
You'll be our financial correspondent. Anytime someone comes in the news, we gotta give Quinn a call.
I'd be happy to. You got questions? I can give you answers.
I was going to say, Quinn was talking about my line of thinking, about that incremental change. We moving in the right direction, but we're not going to blast through. And we're going to, in that 2040, which they say zero income, or zero ownership. Or
Value.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it ain't gonna be there. I think somebody put a little propaganda out there, and they give you some figures, and they let you decide from what they say is the stats, And I think we're well on our way,
I could take a shot of that. I could believe some of that. you know, because nothing's set in stone. You can make your own future.
Yeah, you know, but they put it in there. You know, I'm thinking like about the vote. You know, it's possible people's out there saying, "Why should I vote? It don't mean nothing." But the people who telling you it don't mean nothing, they got their own interests at heart. They're trying to stop you from voting. You know,
It don't mean nothing. We can carry that on into next week. I voted. Don't get everybody get all crazy. I voted. I voted for the guy that locked up all your cousins and your uncles, but I voted for him.
But you said it.
But you got a little bit of something out of it, though. I was talking about that incremental.
Yeah, nothing out of it. What you talking about?
Huh?
Dude ain't even cancel no student
Don't
loans
act
yet.
like y'all ain't here.
He ain't even incrementally cancel those student loans.
Hold up, time out. He hasn't even been in office 100 days yet.
Hey, man, he
Yeah,
decided 40
Gotta make the show longer,
40
man.
executive
Because
orders.
all I wanted and I ever wanted from these politicians is sign that bill for reparations. Let's get this bread. Okay.
And student loan repayment and student loan and student loan forgiveness. Don't forget that.
Say this, that him and Kamala, Vice President Madam Kamala, are not messing around, and they're moving at a rapid pace. And to be fair, all the executive orders he's signing are just undoing the ones that Trump signed. So
Well, Trump just undid what Obama did. So basically, we going back to where we were with Obama.
Which was nowhere, right? Which was nothing for black people.
We can make
nothing
those
for black people. 95% of their vote. We don't
Wait a
get
minute,
nothing
hold on.
but
91
incremental
talking.
change.
91 is
Oh,
talking.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, I'm talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. These changes, they can be made into law. Yeah. Now we can try it again. Everybody's gonna say it don't mean nothing, but we still have the legislation. We have the executive branch, and we have the chance to change these things, these executive orders, and make them law, make them flat out law. So we moving along, you know.
Yeah. And I know my time is up, but since you said that, I gotta like push back a little bit right there and just say one thing for my final thought. I think we should keep in mind is, I think what we need to get is perspective too, that to recognize that we have tools, we have education system, and granted, it does suck and it's not all fair, but it's still there, and we can maximize it more. We can get more out of it. We can get more out of what we have. And that's something I think that we can do and that we can get out of Biden, is just taking advantage of the opportunities, because there won't be as big of a pushback. And I think that really it's going to be, no president can do everything. Like, the people who really going to make the change are the senators in the House. And if we really want change, we got to make sure we can maintain control of the Senate and the House.
Now we got to vote in 2 years, right?
That's our base. That's
what's important.
That's where Obama
is getting strong.
That's where Obama couldn't do all the things that you want.
I giggle. First of all, that's bullshit. But I giggle because if you go back 60 years, what you just said is the same damn conversation that we've been having every couple of years for the last 60 years.
When it's a Democratic president.
I'll just leave it at that. And as far as Obama, his first 2 years of his presidency, he had the presidency, the House, and the Senate.
Yeah.
Okay. All I'm saying is those are just facts, right? And then black people got what? Now, no, he's not the savior. He's not the savior. Neither is Joe Biden. Neither is any of these politicians.
Forget about the hidden hands, though. He didn't come in there. You got the
always want to be
Democratic Party.
At the end of the show. Why can't we have this energy in the middle of it?
I know there's hidden hands. My whole point is they're part of the hands that you're talking about. That's just really where I come from. That's what I feel like I understand. And that's what the data says over the last 60 years of voting 95% Democrat. It's just data. I'm just looking at it. Nothing has changed. I started with Dr. Anderson book. I'll end with Dr. Anderson book. Black wealth, white wealth. That's the book. Check out the graphs. It shows your increased political participation, more judges, more money, more black businesses, right? Unemployment still through the roof, double the national average. It would be a national crisis if white people unemployment was our unemployment rate that's been over the last 60 years. Your incarceration rate hasn't gone down. You still get over policed and killed and murdered inside of your
We gotta save some. This is good stuff. Save some.
Yeah, nothing has changed, right?
Hold on.
Incremental change.
Grandpa, hold on 1 second. So, because I want to wrap up the show, because now we're gonna go into next week's topic is gonna be what has the government done to the black person in America? That's what it's gonna be. We're gonna break down the historical damages that have come along.
Oh, it's Black History Month.
Man, why y'all wait to the end to get me so hyped? I'm like, let's do it.
When? Do you want to come back on next week?
And then he say next week on you, right?
Well, if I can, I would love to come back. But if not, I'd love to come back sometime because you hit me at the end of the show.
Put it on your calendar now, nephew. Put it on your calendar now.
We wanted to get, this was the financial Black History episode. We wanted to get that out of the way. And, which is not unimportant, but like, I didn't think it was going to go this route at the end. I thought we were just going to give final thoughts, be classy about it. But you know what? Uncle Pooh Bear is always showing me that he's like a tiger in the grass. He's waiting for a certain point to come out. And then he leaps out.
I can't let that ride, man. We go ahead. I ain't gonna say it because you're right. I'll save it for next show. I'll save it.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I want to get a final thought though.
No.
Hey, Kristen.
Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna get the shotgun now and get my shells ready for next week.
Get it ready.
I'm gonna come prepared for hunting.
Get ready. So, quick question, Pops, before we go. What do you rate your beer
I'm
now?
coming with it first.
When you started with 6, what you give it?
Well, it didn't move. It's still a 6.
It's a killer.
Well, yeah.
Well,
All right. Ain't nothing wrong with a 6, but I didn't see no improvement over it.
Mine went down to a 6.
5.
Yeah.
Let's get Auntie's final thought. She's the voice of reason as always. She comes in these.
Boy,
things.
we in trouble if that's the voice.
Hey, don't talk to my aunt like that. She's a champion.
Oh, boy, after you to laugh the way you laugh.
You mean let
All right.
champagne mama talk?
Get that final thought, Auntie.
I'm excited for next week. I say, my final thought is that incrementally, Cuba is a place that everybody should go to.
Hey, amen. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
You know what? And Quinn, don't hang up after I quit the live, but I gotta do because we are getting sponsored. I gotta give a shout out to Weed Juice. Or get $10 off your order. CBZ10. Drink your vitamins. It's all natural. He does all the pressing himself. This is great stuff. Use it for workouts. Use it for cleanses. Use it for weight loss. It's fantastic. Grandpa even.
I was about to say, and you can look like 91 right here.
I'm gonna get some detox there. I'm gonna get myself ready because I'm gonna run that 15-second 100 meters. Ain't nobody believing it but me.
Yeah,
All that matter, man.
Huh?
Quinn, Grandpa's a senior Olympian. He actually he's won gold medals in the senior Olympics.
Yes,
so,
sir. Good.
I've been kind of since my leg been giving me trouble. Everybody's saying it's arthritis, and I'm saying but that ain't my biggest problem. So I'm working on something, and when I finish it, I'm gonna let y'all know.
Come on with it.
Go to Europe there.
Oh, he slicked his hair back out. He was like, yeah.
Yeah, Pops, one of these days I'm
I ain't giving up. They keep telling me that's old man, go sit down. Ain't nothing but that arthritis, and we can't help you. I ain't believing it.
Don't ever sit down.
We'll see you guys next week. I'm just closing the live. Don't log up. We'll see you guys next week. It'll be you know what? I'm gonna let Uncle Pooh Bear do the introduction next week. I want him to come in hot.
Okay, what is going to be on now next week?
Huh?
What is going to be the topic next week?
We're gonna talk about
what America's done to the black person.
What the government has actually done to the black community.
Oh, okay. To the black community or for the black community.
We can do more too. Whatever.
I get a whole lot of stuff what they've done